Greetings, everybody. Greetings, peace, and blessings as you come on into the stream. I appreciate y'all being here. Good day to everybody. I don't know how everybody's day is being, but mine has been pretty busy, productive. The sun has been shining for the most part. I got my health. I woke up 10 toes down this morning, and I just have a lot to be grateful for. Amen. Amen. Hey, Miss Yo Thoughts. Greetings to you, sis. Thank you for being here. Bright eyed and bushy tailed as always, full of great energy. I feel you. I feel you. BGPO, salute to you. Kamar, peace and blessings and greetings to you. So, as people are coming in, if you haven't already, if you would be so kind as to tap the like button. I think we're going to have a pretty interesting and informative live. At least that's my objective, right? We're going to jump right off into it. The topic today in context is ungrateful women. Period, point blank. It's just ungrateful women. Put a type of one in the chat if my volume is good. I do have some music playing, but I can't really hear it on my end. So if you would type a 4 if you can hear the music and it's a decent volume, a 5 if you cannot hear the music or if it's too loud. So a 1 if you can hear me pretty good, a 4 if the music volume is decent, or a 5 if you can't hear it or if it's too loud, because I can't really hear it from my end. So yes, we're going to do some video references today, and if if the chat permits, or if anybody wants to come up, I definitely. Okay, so you don't hear any music, Miss Kimar? All right, hold on a second. Okay, I hear it now, but I don't know if it's too loud. So type a 4 if it's cool and a 5 if it's too loud. Too loud. Okay, got it. All right, how about now? 4 if it's good. It's too loud. Okay. See, I can't hear when I had it down. Nobody could hear it. Okay. How's that? Perfect. Perfect. Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate you, Miss Yo. Miss Kim, thank y'all for being here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just start the first video. So this first video, fair use, YouTube, this first video, this young lady is on a second date, okay? And she had a gentleman on their second date actually cook her a really nice, at least it appears to be a really nice meal. I wouldn't complain about it. But yeah, so I'm just going to let her tell her story and her side, and we'll go from there. Now, once I start the video, if you can put a 1 in the chat, if you the volume and you can hear her, I'm hoping I don't have any technical difficulties today. Or a 2 if you cannot. Thank you.
Were you slightly changing plans for a date night?
Hold on. Where'd it go?
This girl ruined her relationship over one dinner. Basically, the story goes that the boyfriend told her that he'd planned something special for her second date. So this is a pretty new relationship, and pretty much the boyfriend said that he'd take her outside to eat. Now, instead of actually taking her outside to eat, he thought it would be more thoughtful to actually cook for her at home. Now, upon hearing this and seeing the actual meal, she had the following meltdown.
So y'all tell me what's so bad about me deciding to cook a home cooked meal for my girl?
No, everything
She's
is bad
okay.
about it. Just someone said, because it's our second day.
So what?
I expect you to take me to the Capitol Grill.
And we will go to the Capitol Grill.
When?
On another day. We went out last. Where should take me out and do more? I'm keeping my word.
No, you're
you
not
haven't
keeping
even.
Your word.
You haven't
no,
even.
You're not.
You don't even know that yet.
No. Listen. You see this?
I see it. It's amazing.
It looks amazing.
It looks amazing.
It looks black, brown, crusty, dusty.
All right, so she.
Okay, so the first thing I want to mention is he didn't have to do any of that for you. Okay, and I actually played the incorrect video because I wanted one without commentary. So we're going to put this tab up instead, and then it may repeat some information. I apologize, but I would rather do the video straight through so I can stop it and do my own commentary. So again, this gentleman, the beef that she's having, welcome to everybody coming into the chat. Hi, Miss Alexandra. Hey, Miss Sassy 81. Peace and blessings to everybody. So she's having an issue because on the second date, he told her that he would prefer, he told her that he had planned on taking her to a restaurant called Capitol Grill. And when she got there, he had decided on his own to actually prepare a meal in-house with his own, with his own hands and his own expertise, right? And she is having a complete meltdown because her expectation or what he told her initially has not been met. Now, this could go either way, in my opinion. Now, I would venture to say that she has maybe a little bit of an argument, but her reaction is totally unwarranted, in my opinion, because not only is she, having an issue with them eating at another place at his home outside of what he initially told her, but now you are destroying his efforts and his him putting forth thought, time, energy, resources, and effort to give you something personalized and something intimate and something home cooked. And you're bashing this man's efforts. You're minimizing his efforts. And this is problematic for me because now you're ungrateful, right? So there's a way to do things. There's a spirit in order to do things. And you can actually, actually present some kindness with your disappointment so it doesn't stink so much or it doesn't hit so hard, right? And so she just really is going through it. So let's continue.
I want to show you versatility. It's easy for me to take you out. Yes, it's easy for me to take you out. It takes a lot more thought to cook for somebody, right? That's all I'm saying.
I do not want this. You hear me? I don't want this. I expected more from you, and that's that. Like, come on.
So you wait until I cook up this meal just for you to decide that you don't.
I
told you we were coming to my house. What did you think?
We're going to the Capitol Grill,
and we will go there eventually. But tonight you're at David's house eating my dinner.
So that means what? You do not keep your word, right?
I do keep my word. You do not keep your word. If I didn't keep my word, why would? If I didn't keep my word, how would I keep it? If you don't have it, just say you don't have it.
So if he didn't keep his word, he would have canceled on you, in my opinion. At least that's a form of not keeping your word, as opposed to making a modification to the date that you initially talked about or that he initially proposed. So to me, this takes more thought, more time, more effort, and more consideration because it's personal. It's a second date. And he is trying to really impress you. And instead of you, just gracefully saying there's a way to do it by saying, you know what, we could have did this differently, or this is what was discussed, what made you change your mind. I surely appreciate the effort, outside. But I really thought that maybe, we were going to a restaurant. I kind of dressed and prepared myself. That's if she really had to have something to say about his efforts, right? And so this woman here, and then she turns around and says to him, well, if you don't have it, then say you don't have it. I almost call her a name. I can tell you right now, I'm gonna get a little spicy on this video, because this type of person and this type of woman is really making it difficult for a lot of the women to land a quality man, appreciate him, so he can feel comfortable in his masculinity, and he can allow himself to express himself without feeling like he's going to possibly be rejected, demeaned, belittled, made to feel small. This kind of behavior, to me, it reeks just immaturity, it reeks selfishness, narcissism, amongst some other things. But she fixed her mouth to say to him, if you don't have it, then say you don't have it. You are in this man's home. He cooked you a steak. Those look like homemade mashed potatoes with some broccoli. If nothing else, the effort should not go unnoticed, right? Very ungrateful, Miss Sassy. So let's continue.
Do you have it?
Actually tell me and have me expect maybe, okay, I don't have it, I'm gonna put something cute for her, she might like it. No, but you have me come over here expecting we're going somewhere, but we're not actually going. I don't like that. I don't. I could have you do more for me than what you want to be. No.
Well, guess what? Guess what?
No.
Well, bye. Well, bye. If you don't want it, then why you still got the fork in your hand and you still sitting there? Instead of wanting to argue with this man, you've already made your point. So what's the point? If you are not satisfied and there's nothing he can do at this point, because now you don't ruin the whole mood, to where if he thought about actually at some point trying to make you happy and take you to Capitol Grill, the whole mood is jacked up. The energy is off. I'm not taking your ass nowhere. And you won't even get a salad out of me with your ungrateful self. So why you still sitting there with a fork in your hand, and then you got the nerve to put your finger up? Now you got the attitude up in this man's house. And what have you brought to the table besides that receding hairline, them little fake ass baby hairs you got on your forehead, and your half dressed self sitting up at this man's table, insulting him in his own house? Miss Yo Thoughts, perfect. Boiling water would have been too much for her. Listen, I don't know if I'm gonna make it, y'all. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I got a problem with this. Because this is way too common. People are way too comfortable, and ain't nobody thinking about nobody else's feelings. You could have said that in a totally different fashion, but you feel so brazen and you feel so entitled that you're sitting at in this man's home at his table, waving his utensils around, feeling like you have the right to say to this man that this is not what you said. This is not what you told me. You're not a man of your word. Well, bye, right? So let's continue.
You're with me right now, okay? Yes, we're on a date right now.
Exactly.
They didn't make the cut, and I did. They must have not did something right. I didn't lie to you about anything. No, I didn't.
You told me we was going to Capitol Grill.
And we will go to the Capitol Grill, but I decided to cook for you this time.
I need you to stick by your word.
I do.
You're not.
I always stick by my word.
No, you're not. No, you are not.
You were just over here complaining. You haven't even had one bite of this food.
I don't want to have
You haven't even taken one bite out of it.
I expected to have.
Wow.
I expected more.
You expect more, but what have you given? I don't know outside of this video, but just being videotaped, what have you given that you deserve anything outside of what Miss Yo Thought said, boiling water? What have you given? What makes you so special that this man needs to take you to a restaurant, and after you done bashed him and belittled his efforts? Alexandra, he's wasting his time. I really feel like he did this to make a point because she's on camera. He's recording this. So I don't know. I know that a lot of the social media platforms, they comprise these for skits. So some of them don't, they lack authenticity. I actually have a video reference where I know it, that there's authenticity there. But even in spite of, these people do exist, whether this is a skit or it's a real life event. Just the fact that we're gonna, for the sake of argument, say that this is, this is authentic, right? She's on videotape, and so she knows she's being recorded. For the sake of authenticity, to say that this is a for real situation, he's probably playing it out to prove a point. And he did that because this went viral, right? So he definitely is wasting his time. But for the sake of saying that there's always a learning experience in any situation, this can actually be a teachable moment for many, right? Wine. Okay, I'm going to reserve. Yes, Miss, your thoughts. I'm going to reserve my thoughts on this. Let's continue.
Be expecting stuff so early on.
You should be lying to me so early.
I didn't lie. I didn't lie.
You should be lying to me so
I didn't lie. I didn't lie about anything.
I'm here for a reason, right?
This is the second day.
I'm here for a reason, right? I'm here for a reason.
So, what reason are you there for? For you to be taken care of and you not have anything to bring to the table, but your presence and your big butt and a smile, which I'm not. I don't even know if you have that, but I'm just saying. What did you bring compared to what efforts this gentleman is trying to convey to you? You insult his food. Man, listen, she'd have been out of my house so quick. That fork either would have hit the table or it would have been somewhere else. But she wouldn't be waving it in my face in my own home, insulting my efforts and my thought process of actually trying to please her and make it an intimate situation and a personalized situation. She is super, super, super ungrateful.
Yeah, because you want to be here.
To go to the capital to grill, okay? I want to go out. I want to sit in. Okay, you should have told me that. You should communicate.
I communicated.
Like men too, like these guys don't communicate. Y'all want to say that y'all have so much y'all drunk. I can really not pull up and take you where you go.
Well, why don't you go with them then?
Okay.
Why don't you go with them?
You right.
Since they are so much better than me, then why don't you go with them?
Yeah. They keep it in the stack and you keep it zero.
I kept.
That is a sheer no. First of all, you should not be comparing this man to anybody, because if that's the case, then why are you there? If there's people outside of him that could have done better or that you expected to do better outside of him, then bow out gracefully. But she knows no grace. I can tell that that's not even in her vocabulary. Like I said, she's sitting up in this man's home, in his dominion, in his safe space, in his safe haven. And she is literally just shitting on every effort that he has made in order to try to please and impress her. And then women wonder why men don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be bothered. They don't want to make the effort, the concerted effort to impress anybody, because for fear of this. And you think men don't have feelings? You think this isn't going to make a difference in how he approaches the next woman? He could probably end up with a really nice young lady, somebody that would totally appreciate an experience like this. But because of this situation and this outcome and her attitude, nobody may or may not ever get this again. And that's a strong possibility. And women are wondering why they are single and alone. this is crazy, right? So we're almost done with this video, but there's like, unfortunately, there's so many videos out that could really be used as video references, but this one here, just really the gall and the audacity. And I've seen women that are a lot more attractive than she is. um I'm not saying that it's okay, that it makes it okay the finer you are and the prettier you are, but I'm just trying to figure out what gives her the mindset that she can come at a man like this when she's brought nothing to the table worthy enough, in my opinion, to do so.
This is my house. I own this house. Okay.
You own this house?
Yes, I own this house.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And I decided
to
to.
own a house, you keep your word too.
I absolutely can.
Like you start to release the mortgage, you can.
You are ungrateful. You are ungrateful.
I'm not ungrateful.
You're ungrateful.
You are a liar.
You are ungrateful. I didn't lie about nothing. You're ungrateful.
You're false. You probably
Forget it. Just you know what? Yeah, just forget it. Just give me my food back. Yeah, give me my food back. I will cook it for another woman. That she'll be appreciative, because you know what? You ain't the woman for me.
Right. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah. You do that. You do that. So y'all tell.
She said you need to do better. Ooh, I'm done with this video. Okay, so yeah, I had to like de-escalate from this, because this is a lot, right? And this is deeper and this is bigger than just what we see from the naked eye, right? This young lady, when I talk about the word ungrateful, to me, she just gave it a whole new meaning. You can tell by the presentation, he's got the candles lit. He got the little wine tumblers out, with whether it's Kool-Aid or whether it's something, another beverage. He's got the plates. The food is presented well. You can tell he took his time. And ooh-cha. Ooh-cha. That's my decompressed statement right there. That's my woosah. Ooh-cha. Yes. Come on, Miss Yo. Miss Yo, if you're not too busy, can I drop the link and you come up and kind of commentate with me? No pressure. I just thought I would offer. I think it would be better if we had someone else up here to be able to kind of add your. I love your perspective. You just let me know in the chat. If not, I definitely can keep going. But I do want to, yes, Kimar. And that's the thing, she's talking about a particular restaurant, and I don't care where you go. Steak, I mean, it's going to be expensive. It's going to be costly. I don't know. For me, maybe I'm old school, but I would just be way more impressed, and I would feel like the investment was authentic and genuine, coming from some gentleman that actually took his time and thought to prepare a meal for me himself, as opposed to someone else. Hey, Juicy Fruit, peace and blessings to you. Miss Genesis 1 is in the house. Thank you for being here, everybody. I appreciate y'all. So yeah, when it comes to, this is just one situation. There is another one that I would like to share. Ms. Yo hasn't responded to me yet, but this is definitely along the same lines. So I'm just going to go ahead and push play. Let's continue.
Why couldn't you get like Gordon Ramsay? Why couldn't you get like, I don't know,
Look.
Tom Colicchio?
Okay,
Why
I
couldn't
don't
you
need
do
you
like
to,
Bobby Flay?
I don't need you to keep like demeaning. Like I can afford this. This is what I can afford right now.
Well, then you can't afford our love.
So I can't afford.
Okay, I'm done. I don't know if I can get through this video, y'all. She said Gordon Ramsay. Now, I'm familiar with Gordon Ramsay's restaurants. And I'm here to tell you that the way she's presenting herself and the way she looks, all basic, I'm not taking you to no Gordon Ramsay. You lucky you getting cheesecake. Because by the way you look, I'm ready to drive you through Chick-fil-A. She said Gordon Ramsay Genesis 1. Yes, she did. She did. So she said you can't afford our love. He has afforded that just by taking you to the cheesecake factory because you look like you don't really put a whole lot into your appearance. Um, it would be a drive through for me, but that's just me, y'all. You know, I digress. Let's continue.
Would you?
Yeah.
That okay.
I'm worth expensive things. I don't want some cheapo, okay?
Oh, I'm cheap.
Cheapo.
I'm
cheap.
Okay.
You're
okay.
cheap, okay? These flowers, they're cheap.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
cheap
okay.
and trash.
Okay. Get out of the car.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Get out of the car.
No, I'm not getting
No,
out.
no.
Drive me home.
I'll teach you. Get
No,
out of.
drive me home.
Get out of my car. Because I'm very glad that you showed your true colors. I was about to make the biggest mistake of my life. Okay? I was about to make the biggest mistake.
What?
Get out of.
Let me see it.
No. Get out of
Oh, let me guess. You got it from the 99-cent store.
Okay, sure.
Did you get it from Walmart? How much did you spend? $99?
Okay, get out.
You think that that's
Get out.
expensive?
Get out.
It's probably all your dad could
Get
your
out.
mom.
You kidding me?
Disgusting.
Man.
Yeah.
She
How is
got,
this special?
hold on. She calling his she calling him disgusting, but her blacks don't match. I need for her to get her whole life together. Ooh, child. In a push-up bra or trying to fool somebody would actually help. Okay, so on a serious note, girlfriend, you just messed up, but you did him a favor because, like he said, you showed yourself, you showed your true colors, and you saved him the trouble. He can take that ring back, no matter how much it costs. He can take it back, and he can get his money back and move right on along, right? So yeah, I'm just okay. So is it just me, everybody, or like I'm looking at the quality of the females? Like my last live, one of the things that I talked about was a woman that has self value and that has a level of worthiness about herself is going to invest in herself before she expects for a man to invest in her or to match her, right? So why is it that I don't know if it's the modern women and educate me, right? Um, inform me if need be, but that's my impression. It seems like a lot of the young ladies are younger, or the ladies that are younger that are really having this type of mindset and disposition when it comes to relationships. It's about tangible things. It's about stuff. It's about being wined and dined. I haven't heard either one of these young ladies talk about getting to know somebody. They know nothing about courting. They know nothing about dating. They don't seem to know a whole lot about self-care, right? Miss Alexandra, you preaching, right? So I know, Kimar, listen, it is what it is, but the occasion calls for it because I'm just in disbelief how, you're sitting back and you're having all these expectations, but you don't even have boobs to bring to the table, or trying to fool somebody, or your blacks don't match. You got bangs that you use that you cut on the front of your head with your shearing scissors for your meat at home. I'm just not understanding. You put no effort into how you present yourself, but you got the nerve to throw flowers back at this man's face and tell him that the Cheesecake Factory is unacceptable. Child. Yeah, so all of that. But on a serious note, we as women have to invest in ourselves. We have to present ourselves a certain way in order, but the way we present ourselves is going to yield how we're treated. And there's going to be a video I'm going to show a clip of that's going to demonstrate just that. I definitely want to give take a moment here and just say welcome to everybody that's here. I have received I think a cash apps, a couple of cash apps. So let me look and give my thanks. Thank you so much. I appreciate Miss Divine. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. And then I think I heard my PayPal as well. So to all that are donating and that have donated, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, Andre W is always is just he's a blessing. Thank you. Appreciate you, Andre. If you're listening from the bushes. Yes, Alexandra, thank you. Hit the like button as you're coming in or going out. Um, Miss Genesis, don't judge me. I don't know. You being, kind of me and you being from the same generation, I don't really don't know how you feel about that. Like I said, I'm willing to drop the link. Miss Yo said that she's right in the middle of something. No problem, no pressure. If anybody else, actually, I'm just gonna drop it. If anybody wants to come up, and I would love to have some a co-commentator or some feedback because I'm in a roasting mood, and I think some of these females deserve to be roasted. I mean, for real, because they think they lonely now. If you think you're lonely now, wait until too late, girl. They listen. They don't change themselves. This is going to be a regular occurrence, right? So, with that, there's a next video I would like to show. And this one, I'm only going to do a clip. Shout out to Miss Dee Dee. Go ahead and subscribe. This, I like her. I've just actually really just recently discovered her channel, but she has some really good commentary and some good sources that she brings a great vantage points on. So if she doesn't mind, I just want to use a couple of small clips from her video in order to show some diversity, and that we still do have some, even with the young ladies, we still have some they're being some ones that are raised with good foundation and instilled some great values. And so it still does occur. It just seems like, I don't know, it just seems like with the evolution of social media and all of this fakeness and all of these unrealistic expectations that seem to be going along on social media, a lot of people are getting really, really lost in the sauce, and really trying to figure out what reality they're living in. So I want to go ahead and definitely give this viewpoint, and let's continue.
The wedding ring have to cost?
Baby, it could be $50. It really doesn't matter. I just want to be in love. I want to be genuine. I want a happy, healthy marriage. So the cost of the ring, it really doesn't mean anything because it's not like I'm going to go sell it. But the ring is just a symbol of my commitment to my man. So however much he can really afford, whatever he feels like he wants to give me. Listen, these have 3 kids with no marriage. So I'd rather the ring and my man than the cost of it. That don't matter.
Like, he can give you a ring.
Amen. We're gonna hear that again. I'm gonna slow that down because I definitely would love to hear. It's so refreshing. Thank goodness. And I don't have to say woo child on this one.
It doesn't matter. I just want to be in love. I want to be genuine. I want a happy, healthy marriage. So the cost of the ring, it really doesn't mean anything because it's not like I'm going to go sell it. But the ring is just a symbol of my commitment to my man. So however much he can really afford, whatever he feels like he wants to give me. Listen, these have 3 kids with no marriage. So I'd rather the ring and my man than the cost of it. That don't matter.
Like, he could give you a ring pop and you would...
Baby, take me to the courthouse with that ring pop. Thank you. Hello.
Shout out to that first lady because she is not one of, the gold diggers. She is not one of the modern women who have unrealistic expectations.
How much do a man gotta make to?
Yes, which is definitely the link should be in the chat. Let me drop it again. Mel, absolutely, I would love to hear. So she's a beautiful young lady. You could tell she knows how to carry herself. She's very articulate and she's very sure. And she was very quick on the response, which leads me to believe that it was authentic and heartfelt. And he said, even if it was a ring pop, and she said, ring pop, let's go to the courthouse. Let's do it. Let me tell you, whoever lands her will be blessed because they will be getting someone that will appreciate that man for who he is and not what he has to give. Right? So let's continue.
Baby, take me to the courthouse with that ring pop. Thank you. Hello.
Shout out to that first lady because she is not one of, the gold diggers. She is not one of the modern women who have unrealistic expectations.
How much do a man gotta make to be with you?
At least $1,000.
A year?
No,
A month?
every day.
$1,000 every day?
Yeah.
God have mercy upon us.
You gotta make $1,000 every day to be with you.
Yeah.
Why?
Because that's bare minimum. I need things done. I need my lifestyle.
So how much you gotta make a day to be with him?
You shouldn't worry about that.
That's the problem. That is the problem. The problem is that she doesn't have to do anything for her. Then how in the world is she going to set the standard for how she is to be treated if it's not his problem how she does for herself? How is he supposed to gauge? He doesn't know her. That's why courting and dating is so super important. That's why communication is essential. That is why we have to get to know one another before putting the cart before the horse, putting sex before learning exactly what this relationship is going to be like or what our expectations are. Having these discussions before you give somebody your whole soul and then regret it, and now you're bitter at life and you're pissed at every man walking because you made a poor decision. This is not going to work. And we wonder why the structure and the core family unit has been successfully dismantled because of stuff like this. There are a lot of, this is multi-layered. I'm not saying that this is the only reason, but there is a reason why we have an entire generation of young women walking around thinking that they don't have to bring anything to the relationship, but expect everything from a man. That man is still human at the end of the day. He's got the same, there's a level of expectations that this life demands of him by himself. And now he's going to take, you're not his child. Why would a man, and that's what these men are thinking, and these are these are the conclusions that a lot of these men are coming to, is that it is so much more beneficial to be single because and for those that don't have children, why would they take on the responsibility of a child in a grown woman? It is not their responsibility to take care of you. It is not their responsibility to fund your lifestyle. What do you do for yourself? What do you have to bring to the relationship? Where is the reciprocity? Where is the balance? That's the definition of family, is to bring and maintain balance. That's why it takes two people to procreate and have children. For balance. So with that being said, Mel, thank you for coming up. I appreciate you, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Welcome, peace, and blessings. I'm going on mute.
Well, salute to you, Mr. Kimi. Salute to your thoughts out there, and Kim, as well as Genesis. Anybody else that I missed, I always appreciate your insight and your wisdom, sister, on what you talk about when it comes to relationships. So when you mentioned about that girl talking about like the ring pop, it brought back so much nostalgia for me because my wife, she rescued my heart from a lot of brokenness. I was involved in a relationship, and I was engaged to a woman who had not been faithful with me the whole time, and that happens. There's some other stuff that happened with that person. I don't want to drag them, so I respectfully, I comment on them. But I had a hard time rebounding in that relationship. So then I happened to meet my wife because I knew her mother, and I was around her mom, and so me and my wife, we started just talking, befriending, and before we knew it, we were falling in love with one another. And so the conversation of marriage was, always popping around. But Mr. Kimi, I did not have myself together. I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. I drove a busted up car. And I'll never forget my wife. She was living in Florida. She flew up to visit me because I was in Virginia. And she was at my apartment, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go propose to her, but I didn't have a ring, didn't have any money either. I was like, so I'm gonna get a ring. And then as I was driving, my whole tire just blew off of my car, and it was raining, like the worst of the worst situation. So my best friend came and he helped me with the tire. I'm like, this girl is not gonna want to marry me. And my best friend gave me the best advice. He said, your wife, and because I don't want to mention the name, but he said, and he said, if she is anything like the woman you said she is, she'll marry you even if you don't have a ring. So we went to Walmart, got the cheapest ring I could find. And my wife told me when I proposed to her, I'm sitting there soaking wet, I'm beat down, I hate my job, hate everything. And I got on my knee and I was just so worn out. That ring had to be $50. And I asked her, I said, are you sure you want to marry me? And she said, I would marry you even if you put a sugar packet on my finger. And she was that committed to me. And she was that loyal to me. And I don't drive that busted down old car anymore. But that's the way God works. Because when he placed somebody in my life, everything in my life changed in that moment. How I moved, how I lived, how I thought, how I processed, and where I saw myself. So when you have the right woman beside you as a man, it is vital that you have a woman that on those days you cannot process yourself. She knows what you're thinking before you even say it. Me and my wife, we will literally say the exact same thing at the same time when we're watching the same movie. Same lines and everything. So when these women go out here with these superficial ideas of they want a man already up here, they don't understand. Sometimes you got to help that man get there. You got to help him get there, not with your words, but with your actions. And everything ain't about the money will come. Trust me, the money will come. I am comfortable where I'm at. The money will come. But you have to build that foundation on something besides finances. And that's why a lot of these young women, that's why they don't understand Sydney Hicks, Monique's husband. That's why these young women don't understand the bond and the relationship that they have. Because she can trust her. That's the way God designed it. My wife trusts me to lead this household. And I'm so blessed that I had heartbreak. Because if I didn't have that heartbreak, I would have never met the best thing that ever happened to me. So that was just what I wanted to share, because my wife literally said, I would marry you if you had if you could wrap the sugar packet around my finger. And I was at my lowest point, and she rescued me.
You were blessed. You were truthfully and honestly blessed, and it was meant. It was definitely meant. When you said we could be watching a movie and we'll say the same thing at the same time, that's bond. That's a bond. Whether I think a little bit of both happens. So you bond during the relationship, but there has to be a bond in order to get you cemented into the relationship as well, right? And then you build from there. Let me ask you a question, if you don't mind,
Sure.
and feel free. What? First of all, how many years have you been married thus far?
Well, this September will be our 10th year.
Hmm.
So I don't know
Okay,
if I'm gonna take them on. I
congratulations.
don't know if I'm taking to a cruise or Vegas. We doing one.
Okay. Well, having a lot of well, I've had experience with both. You can have fun doing either one, but I think Vegas because it's so much more open and there's so much more to do.
Yeah.
And you can also be, you can also make it an intimate, like the cruise. You can make it an intimate situation as well. So you can pick and choose the mood, the environment. There's a plethora of different options. It's like an oasis, so you can make whatever you want out of it. You just have to kind of get with me behind the scenes if you want some suggestions. I'm very familiar with
Well,
Vegas.
I've been to Vegas.
Okay, all right.
You
Okay, then
know,
you know.
do the helicopter fly through the
Yeah.
Grand. She says, but she said if we go to Vegas, she ain't doing that with me. So
Hmm.
she's not doing the helicopter thing.
Yeah, there's a lot more to do than
Yeah,
that. So she still has her options. Okay, so well,
yeah,
congratulations on your milestone with your
yeah.
marriage. That's a blessing. You got people that can't even stand to be in the same room with each other for more than 3 months. So that definitely deserves to be celebrated.
Yeah, well, marriage is not a trial. It's not a trial and error thing, and I think a lot of the younger people who get married, they were taught that, and
Mhm.
and the worst and the biggest thing that I learned was my best friend. I have two of my closest friends. We are we all are married. We all have we all have the same number of children,
Mhm.
and we give each other advice. I have never in my life, nor will I ever, take advice from someone who ain't been through it or going through it. Because single people have no idea what they're talking about when they try to give a married person advice. If
Yeah,
you're single out there, salute to you, but don't give me advice about marriage.
it sounds like you have your tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, I
Okay.
just wanted to pop up and share that story because you made me think about that moment, and I think that's what's so great about my best friend.
Amen. And
Is
that
that
that makes a huge difference.
yeah. So and sometimes she's my biggest enemy.
Yeah. I don't
So
know of any best friends, not authentically anyway, that have been, that have any time up under their belt that hasn't been at odds at some point or another. But the ability to be able to get through that and to still keep your relationship intact, that speaks volumes.
yeah, and what see a lot of people think that when you're married you have to always like your spouse. I don't. There are some days my wife can't stand me. There are some days I can't stand her. That don't mean we don't love each other. That don't mean we're not committed to each other. That don't mean we don't share the same bond and we don't have the same end goal. But at the end of the day, like whatever trials we go through, a lot of people will use that opportunity to thank you, your thoughts, salute to you, sister. But
Mhm.
a lot of people think when you thank you, Kim, but they think when you have problems that they allow other people to sneak into their relationships. It don't work that way,
Mhm.
you know.
Exactly.
So, but
Exactly.
thank you so much, and I'm so glad I shared that. I'm not gonna let my wife know I shared that. I don't want to make her feel too good about herself, but
Let me, okay, so I know you might be pressed on time, but if you don't mind, there's
I'm
one
not.
other question I'm very interested in getting your perspective on, if you don't mind.
Mhm. Oh, sure, absolutely. I got time.
Okay, okay, good. So, what advice would you give to maybe single people, male or female, that are older, that have not, found their significant other or, um, just have not been able to be in the situation that you're in to be able to tell that testimony and that story? What would there be any inspiring words, any suggestions? Because you have a lot of like, I have a friend of mine that her husband passed,
Mhm.
and it's really hard for her to get back into the swing of things, and she's really not interested, but she still has a lot of life left. And so, it's a touchy subject sometimes because I don't want to feel like, I'm instructing her or trying to, well, I don't know. I wouldn't say give my opinion, but just I lovingly would just like to let her know that you do have a lot of life left, and there are people out here. At least get out, navigate, and be willing to meet. You don't have to necessarily. But then, I also feel like when she's ready, she will move on too. But then I don't know.
Well, so I'm seeing this happen right before my eyes. My mom passed 2 years ago,
My
and
condolences.
oh
Mhm.
no, she's in
At
heaven.
peace.
She's with the Lord. This is one of my
Yeah.
favorite paintings that I had painted about her. So yeah, because
Okay.
she had 5 sons, so I'm
Mhm.
the youngest of that. Um, but but I'm watching my dad crash out,
Mhm.
and when I say he's crashing out, it's because he's looking for companionship, and he's so rushed to do that, he's not looking for friendship. So I think friendship is probably the first thing that if I were unfortunately in that situation, or if my wife is in that situation, you don't have to. You will find love through love, but the first thing you got to do is find friendship. You don't have to find a physical friendship. I mean, physical friend. You don't have to find somebody to go to the movies with and cuddle up with. But at that point in life, I believe that you're wise enough to know how to talk with people of the opposite sex without and have a conversation that doesn't lead to sex or something of that nature. So my advice would be is just to be open to having friends of the opposite sex, and that's how you determine and you get the confidence back to speak to people. And if that friend wants to develop in something more, it can. But if you go out looking for relationships after that, because I joke with my mother-in-law all the time, because she's in that same situation my dad was in, but she's not looking for anything. It's
Mhm.
you're going to end up lonely in a lot of different ways. And I'm not just talking about lonely from intimacy, but lonely from just having somebody to talk to. Because when you get married for a long period of time, and I watched my parents married for 43 years, they weren't husband and wife more, but to me, they were friends. They were
Yeah.
the people who they talked every day. And I think that's all you really should be focused on is finding somebody that you can talk to every day consistently, shared values, same thing, having things in common, so that would be the advice I would give. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not a good matchmaker, so don't leave it up to me. But that's something I'd say. Just look for a friend, not so much as looking for a relationship or replacement or intimacy. Just look for somebody that makes you laugh.
Mhm. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm sure people in the chat probably can find a lot of value in your response as well. So I love your wisdom. I love your insight and your transparency. And I'm so glad that you've, like me, come out the bushes. And yeah, no, for real, because I think we definitely, as a whole, we need voices, and then coming from a male's perspective and a man's perspective that is living and is an ongoing success, what we consider to be a success story. You've never been able to tell me when I was younger that the ideal concept of family would not exist in our lifetime or would
or in
be.
our or in our community or with our people. And that's the worst part about it.
It is. And this is the primary community that it has affected down to it, the genetic cells. It's disheartening. That's what I guess that's what I'm trying to say and express is that you definitely cannot. I just would have never have imagined, like when my mom and dad transitioned. I knew I would. I always anticipated I would feel a loss because my parents were together until my dad passed first, and then my mother, she actually lasted longer than I ever thought she would, because I always, in my mind, I always said that if my dad went first, my mom would go right after that. But
Yeah.
she was a fighter. and she had her grandbabies as well as myself because I was her only child. To definitely give her the tenacity to keep fighting and to want to keep living without my dad. But once they passed, it was like I did not realize the loss that I would feel because that was my primary example
Mhm.
of the family unit, you know.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. It was my grandparents were married for 53 years. So
Yeah.
and so now these kids, and I see them regularly. You know, have different last names than their dads, or they're not the dads are not in the home. It's way more common than you guys probably even realize, and so it's hard to convince these kids that the abnormal is not normal, because a lot of these kids see a single mom situation as the normal situation, and the devil did his job because in with slave, and I don't want to be boring about slavery and I don't want to be long-winded, but one of the things the slave master did was he broke the will of the slave woman by conditioning the slave woman to be solely dependent on him, so therefore the children would feel the same way, and they would castrate, or not, well, not in a literal sense sometimes, but they would encourage the black male slaves to go out and be philanderers, to go out. Slaves had to get permission from the slave master just to marry. So now that we're almost full circle now, where we don't understand the way God intended marriage, and then we also don't understand the way our grandparents, our great grandparents, were so valued and invested in that sanctity of marriage just to raise their families. And that's another reason why we've lost so much property over the years that we've gained as well too, because you know that's a Mr.
That's a
King. That's
whole,
a that's
I'm
another
already
that's
knowing
another
that's
that's
another
another,
whole another rabbit hole. I was just thinking that. I was like, that's a whole nother live.
Mhm.
But no, but it all, you know what, it's multi-layered, so it all ties in together, and it's a trickle down effect amongst that affects the family. Because if you take the land, now people have to survive. Now they have to get in where they fit in. They have to get out and make things happen, and those visions look different based on who you're, who's having those visions, right? Everybody has their own perspective. So, but the I was just thinking, and I'm not going to make this long-winded, but I did want to say this. I was, while you were saying that, I think that's why our grandparents and our great grandparents and even our parents valued marriage so much, is because, when you're talking about the slavery times, in the era where the slaves could see how the slave masters' families operated and how they benefited from cohesiveness, whether there was dysfunction, whether they were evil, they still, most of them had family, right? And then when they realized that the family was dismantled amongst the slaves, it weakened everybody. It weakened their power, it weakened their abilities. It just made them weaker culturally and community wise. There really was no community unless it was used for trauma. So I don't know, it just resonated in my spirit when you were speaking on that.
Well, if you think about it physically, the male slave is the more stronger one. So if there's going to be a fight, the male slave is going to do it. But the way that you break that is you teach that mother to teach that young boy that this person should be feared. This white man should be feared. Not the person who gave you life, not your daddy, but this white man should be feared. And so now we're falling back into that mindset where we're respecting so many other people outside of that dynamic. Even if your daddy is no good, that man gave you life.
Period.
Even
Period.
if your mother is no good, that woman brought you in this world.
Yes.
And we got some kids today who won't even speak to a parent or their parents, and that's a shame.
I agree. I went through a spell of that with my mother. Out of all my years of living, a situation occurred, and actually, she didn't talk to me for a year, and I kind of acquiesced to that. Like I didn't, pursue communication. I just let her do her thing. And this was right after my dad passed. So a lot of this was PTSD. A lot of this was trauma. My mother had been with my dad since she was 19 years old. And that was primarily all she knew. And then he passed in such a tragic way, for our family to witness it, that it affected everybody. So we were bound to go through something as a family. But I'm here to tell you that that experience, that was the loneliest year of my life, because there were many days I wanted to reach out to her. There were many days I never let her birthday pass or a milestone like their anniversary, and I would text or I would leave a voicemail. But it just, like you said, I just can't imagine, because I was very close to my mom and my dad.
But see, you didn't hate your mom. You didn't hate
No,
your dad. And
no,
so
I was angry with her though. I ain't gonna even lie. I
no,
ain't
no,
gonna
you
lie.
may have been angry and it may have hurt, but it hurt you. We
Yes.
got we got some younger people today who hate their parents, who despise their parents, who despise the very people who gave them life. And and it took an older man, um, who I was speaking to break that down to me. This guy would talk to me for 3 hours, I'm like nonstop. But he was like, a lot of these kids today, they don't respect their parents, and no matter how bad their parents are, they still gave you life. So it's okay to be angry at them, but under no circumstance can you ever say out your mouth you don't love your parent, unless they physically was harming you, that you could ever say you don't love your parent, because they did the greatest thing that could have ever happened for you, and that was they gave you a chance.
Yes. Very well said. No, very, very powerful. Thank you. You have, oh, I know you kind of, I'm glad you changed the energy a little bit, because I was watching the videos. I was getting mad. I ain't gonna even lie to you. And even though I've seen them prior, to doing the live, I don't know. It just resonated with me differently doing it live than it did, because I think I was in preparation mode as opposed to just kind of absorbing it and processing it. But it can be turned around, but it's going to take a collective effort. I think a lot of damage has been done, and I think again it's multi-layered, but we have to start somewhere, and nothing can change without acknowledgement. But so first people have to acknowledge that we have an issue, or that we have issues in our community, and that we're out of order. We are out of order. We don't have our families right now the way, in the manner that it should be, which is why I think people of color are being so easily controlled, manipulated, and disenfranchised. And a lot of that is due because we don't have the reinforcement of the male and the female energy collectively in the home.
Well, and to that point, I watched some of. I was watching nowhere. I saw you getting angry. I felt that energy coming off of you.
Did I was
I felt
getting
that
angry.
energy, but I'm watching it, and I think it's because we don't know how to teach kids what a healthy love is. We spend a lot of time teaching them conditional love, and so these women that you were showing,
Yeah.
they have conditioned love. They have been taught that love is only as good as a man does dot 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 dot. Whereas your mom, my mom, our grandparents understood a man is only as good as how he took care of the family as the head. Not how much money he brought, but was he willing to do what he needed to do to provide for that family? I grew up very poor. But I also saw my dad work 3 jobs to feed the family. But these women, they want somebody to get money quick, who don't have calluses on their hands. I have calluses on my hands because my daddy showed me how to work. So, but if they have these men out there who never had a daddy to show them how to work, how do they expect those men are going to be heads of the household for them? But Miss Akemi, they don't know what head of the household means.
Correct.
That's not coming home beating on your wife or yelling at her and berating her. No, that's when stuff needs to be taken care of. You trust me and know that I got it.
And everybody has their position in the family. Everybody has their role and their responsibilities. So, if that was more clear and more understood. Thank you, Miss Genesis. Have a great dinner. Appreciate you being here. Hey, Selena. Thank you for being here. Peace and blessings to you. I appreciate anybody that I Timo TV. Anybody that I missed, the Candyman, Ben Simmons, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. And if you're just coming in, we've been here an hour, so we're just really the original topic has been talking about ungrateful females, ungrateful women. And so thank you. I don't know who sent the cash app, but peace and blessings. Thank you so much for donating to the channel. Thank you. And just how we got here and how to respond and what do we do. I mean, what do we do? Mel just gave a really wonderful testimony, personal testimony that many of us can actually learn something from, on how he and his wife ended up being married and how special that story is to him and to their union and to their family collectively, because they're coming up on a 10-year anniversary, which deserves to be celebrated. I remember, like you said, with your grandparents, 53 years, that was like, you have milestones, but now it seems to be unheard of, because now we're looking at 5 years, 10 years, people are celebrating anniversaries, and it seems like 50 years, I think, to some of them, right?
No, that is correct. And Miss Yo's thoughts, you are exactly right, because my grandmother was out there working in the garden. She was cutting the heads off the chickens. She was doing everything. My mom ran a health food store while my dad worked his job. She did what she had to do. My dad was a janitor at the Y at nights when he got off of his regular job. And you know who was helping him right beside him?
Yep.
Well, my mom, and they made us help too. So
yes, I tell the stories sometimes of my grandmother, my dad's mom. She lived in Alabama, and she would send for me during the summer. And honey, I didn't know work until I thought my daddy put the grind to my behind when growing up. But that had nothing on my grandmother, nothing. She had me pulling out watermelons out of the soil. I would get up at 4:30 in the morning and go cut the weeds, or pull the weeds, or cut the edges on the grass. She had the best manicured grass in the neighborhood. I understood why, because she always had somebody out there. And the summers that I were there, it was like going to boot camp.
Yeah, it built character. So and
I felt like I was being abused. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, I don't do this at home. What did I do to deserve? I thought I was being punished, not realizing that she was instilling work ethic and some other things in me at the time as well.
Yeah, but yeah, Miss, your thoughts. I got to catch myself on that. No, not at all. I watched the strongest women were my mom and my grandmothers, both of them, and my wife. Now my wife, she's from New York. God bless her. She ain't got no calluses on her hands. she ain't get there yet. But I'm from the South, and I watched my mother, and I watched both of my grandmothers. They could outwork most men. So yes, salute to all those hardworking women who laid the foundation for us. So, Mr. Kimmy, I'm gonna drop on down.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, but I just wanted to thank you so much for allowing me to tell my story.
Well, I'm glad you did. I appreciate appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming up, and you're welcome anytime.
Yes, ma'am. Take care.
All right, you as well. Oh, that was refreshing. And he did just what needed to be done to de escalate my polar spirit because I was feeling some type of way. Ooh, child. So, yes, Miss Selena says men and women are not the same. Don't we know it? Don't we know it? This live is definitely demonstrating that as well. Um, yes, so I just kind of want to pivot a little bit back to the topic. Mel was given, a breath of fresh air when it came to making us realize that we absolutely still have, marriages and unions and relationships that are built off of the right stuff instead of the tangibles, instead of things that really, at the end of the day, don't mean nothing. They don't really hold a lot of weight. It's not the superficial. You know, we don't talk about spirituality hardly anymore. When it comes to social media, there's a lot that definitely, plays a part with that as far as giving unrealistic expectations. And speaking of such, I thought that I came across this video. Now, all of the videos that I'm showing, definitely their links are in the description of this video, of this live. So definitely, if you want to go and subscribe, I encourage you to do so. I thought they were all great pages and great sources. And I came across some new people that I subscribe to delving into this topic. But there is definitely this one gentleman that I thought gave, it's nice to hear a man's perspective because we've definitely heard a couple of women's perspectives, but I want to give a man's perspective on this. And I thought that he hit a lot of key points. And so the video, the context of the video is a little rough. It's a little, you got multiple people in here, but I tried to timestamp it to the point where it gets right to him making his point. So just be patient and listen to him, and we'll stop during his thoughts, and I will definitely give commentary on that as well. But I just wanted to give a preface on, you'll get it what I'm saying once I play. It's a little rough around the edges. It's not professionally done, but you can definitely get the gems out of the video. Because he has some very interesting and some profound things that I think he stated that I think are relevant to the topic that we're discussing.
Hold on. So social media got these chicks thinking that they got something they don't have. So they only fuck with niggas who got bread, and then turn around and be mad when them type of dudes who got a bunch of money want every bitch. These same bitches will turn around and pay Chris Brown $1,000 to take pictures with him. You feel me? See, hold on. They charge broke niggas to chill with them, but the more money you got, the less you got to spend. See, women only want to deal with dudes who don't have no opinion. That's why you see a lot of these bad chicks with these goofy ass, soft ass niggas who ain't gonna challenge them on nothing, who ain't gonna ask them no questions. Any man that got his own shit taken care of, don't need their money, don't need their pussy. They don't want to deal with a nigga like that. They want a nigga that they could talk to crazy and disrespect them because they don't want no structure. They scared of real men, you feel me? Because a real man ain't gonna let them talk crazy and do all that goofy dumb shit.
So modern day men are more feminine more than ever.
Definitely. All I'm gonna say is
Okay, so okay, I'm just gonna let you know this dude in this brown jacket, he gets on my last nerve in this video. I don't know what he got going on, but he adds no value. So if you can I wasn't able to kind of dismiss him, but I thought that the brother in the blue, because he's coming with some more fire once we continue the commentary. So he was saying, you'll pay Chris Brown $1,000 to take a picture with him, but the less fortunate brothers or the poor brothers or the brothers that don't make that kind of money, you expect the world from. You know, you expect for him to bend over backwards and provide you with, you know, whatever your fantasies or your visions are for yourself, concerning being in the company of that particular man, right? And I thought, you know, that's like backwards, but there's actually substance and truth to that. And so, you know, when you think about the saying, what's up is down and what's down is up, that could definitely fit that criteria as far as I'm concerned. So let's continue.
Same bitch who went to school need gas money. Yeah, let her talk. Let her
I'm a
talk.
woman. So what you saying?
I said women don't like dudes who got their own, who don't need them. They rather deal with men who are not that intellectually aggressive, who gonna let them say what they want and do what they want. They rather deal with a man like, not saying you like that, but most women out here don't want to deal with a man who gonna say, baby, nah, don't wear that. Nah, baby, don't talk like that. They don't really want to deal with that. They rather deal with the dude who let them say and do whatever they want to do. And they think if a man be a man, he's toxic.
So I got one question.
Watch your camera. But look, when you say this though, real shit. Let me keep it G with you though, like real peace.
Pause 1 second. What's your response to that?
I got one question for you.
No, what's your response? What we said? Though?
Do you fuck with real women? Cause you
I'm
gotta
gonna say this.
You gotta agree. You gotta agree.
That's a good question.
Guys.
That's a good question.
Pause.
That's a good question.
Guys, hold on. Pause.
That's a great question. Can I answer?
Guys, if we want to do this, we need to have some order, right?
He's right.
So you need to be quiet. You need to stand over there and stop getting in front of the camera, right? You gotta stand over here too. And we need to have a conversation because the shit's not gonna make any sense if everybody's fucking talking at the same time.
Nah, let her answer a question.
Can I say one thing?
Bro, hold on, bro. She had a question. Repeat your question, sweetheart.
So my question was, do you fuck with a real woman?
Let me answer that question.
And the reason why I asked is
listening.
because if you fuck with a real woman, she's going to agree with you. Hey, maybe I shouldn't step outside wearing
I
this,
respect that,
this
baby.
nasty ass shit.
Let me answer that. This is the problem. The real woman is standing too close to the hoes, so we don't know the difference until we start talking to y'all. No, listen. I met a lot of women. It don't mean, I don't care if they from the hood. I don't care if they got two parents. Their interests are the same. It's like right now, right? If you see 10 lions coming down the street, are you going to try to figure out which lion going to bite your ass or not? You're going to be like them 10 lions. So unfortunately, the real woman agree with too much shit that these hoes is on, so we don't know the fucking difference. Y'all got to stand far away from the hoes because y'all dress like them. Y'all wear the same shit they wear. Right. Y'all listen to the same music they listen to. Y'all stand for the same shit they stand for. In most cases, not you, baby. But in most cases, the real women got too much in common with the hoes. Let me give you an example. We from the hood and all that. But a street nigga that's really out in the plug, that's really out there doing that dumb shit, he ain't got shit in common with me. So we look mad different. The women, y'all look too much, talk too much, and act too much like the bitches who ain't shit. So we don't know the difference.
Woo! Watch out now. Now I got schooled on this. Even though it was something that I've seen. Salute to everybody coming into the chat. What's up, KB? Thank you for coming in. I'm so grateful you were able to catch it live as well. Thank you so much. Appreciate you and everybody else that's here. So Brother Man said, we don't know the difference, because her question was, let's recap this a little bit because this is worth reiterating, right? She said, do you deal with real women? How do you know that she's a real woman? He said, look, I don't know, because y'all all look the same until we actually engage in conversation. And sometimes that never happens, because when women tend to be in groups, they kind of feed off of each other. And, you know, the environment or the setting has not been set for a man to really feel comfortable enough to approach a woman. And he can't decipher which one could be real and which one can't be. So in a lot of cases, he's just going to assume that they're all cut from the same cloth. They all have the same interests. They all carry themselves the same. When I was talking about in my last live, I'm going to reiterate, there was a part in there where I said a woman that has self-worth is going to dress differently. She is going to carry herself differently. Her presentation is going to stand out. That is how you get a man to approach you. instead of you picking out a man. That's out of order, in my opinion. 10 toes down. I'm going to stand on that. I am old enough to have been there, done that, seen it 1,000 times over, and it's out of order, right? So when a man is looking at a group of women and you all look the same, he's not going to do a whole lot of work typically, unless there's something about you that separates you from those other women. Now, I will say this, as for me, I pretty much roll alone or with women that have like minds such as myself. So you're going to be able to tell based off of my presentation if I'm approachable or not based off of who I'm with and who I'm surrounded by. But this brother just brought up a really, really good point, because it's more often than not nowadays that women do roll in groups. My dad used to always say to me, I used to go out, and I've always been pretty fearless when it comes to a lot of things in my life. I move the way that I want to move. I've done what I wanted to do and still do. I just do it with more wisdom. And now in hindsight, I see what he was saying, but I wasn't trying to hear it. So I used to go out a lot by myself, because when it was time to leave, I didn't want to have to confer with anybody else. And anytime I ever went out with females, it was always some bullshit behind it. So I was like, nope, I like going out by myself. Now I'll meet my girls out at certain spots, a couple of girls, not a whole slew of them. And then, but when it's time to go, I'm driving home alone, right? And my dad used to always be concerned and worried, but I think times were a little different than they are now. I would dare not do that now. But I say that to say this. Nowadays, you kind of have to go in groups, especially depending on your lifestyle. If you're always out and about at night, if you're going to social spots or clubs or bars or lounges or whatnot. And so it is very, very important that this is what we have to realize, that women have to hang around the way they want themselves presented, because you will be judged based on your company. Whether you like it or whether you don't, that's just going to be how it has to be, right? So that was a great point. I got excited about that, y'all. I just wanted to stop. So let's continue.
But you gotta surround yourself. You say you from the hood, right?
Of course.
So you from the hood. So you gonna be surrounded by hood bitches.
No.
No, but
I'm
are.
from the hood. I don't live there. I live up here now.
You live in Charlotte?
Of course, uptown, baby.
Uptown, right here?
Down the street.
So you seem very intelligent.
Very.
You seem very, very intelligent. So my thing is, you know what you want in a woman?
I don't know what the woman about until I get to know her. So
that's the thing. You gotta talk to her. You gotta be like, hey, you look very nice.
They talk the same shit that the goofy bitches is talking about.
You wanna know how?
All right, guys. Final question.
Go ahead.
So, yes, I thought that was worth mentioning. Definitely. I love it. So when it comes to women, it definitely comes to a point where we have to start making some decisions based off of not being so superficial. These men are not feeling it. They're not responding to it. And if women are wondering why they're alone and why they aren't able to get a suitable partner for a partnership, because this is a whole nother live, but union should be based off more, in my opinion, of a business arrangement. When Mel W was talking about his wife being his best friend, that is absolutely critical, in my opinion. Any of my successful relationships that have been long-term, my partner has been my best friend. You spend more time with them, you're a lot more intimate, and you make a lot more life altering decisions with that person. So not that you have to like them or get along with them or agree with them on every topic all of the time, but you do have to have some type of yoke that is balanced in the relationship, and you have to be bonded to a degree in order to trust one another to be able to make said decisions, right? And so, these are things that I definitely just wanted to take into consideration doing this live because it is like there's such a saturation of women that are walking around feeling as if they are their looks and how they dress and the fact that they take time to put on makeup and do some self-care warrants them the world. So a man is supposed to take up. There was this one chick, I don't know if I can find it, I don't want to really interrupt the flow of the live, but she was saying how you could tell she's not speaking from experience. But the gentleman asked her, he said, what would you do, or where would you want to go and do on your first date? This chick fixed her mouth to say that she wanted to go on a private boat. She wanted a dozen of roses with money inside of each rose. She wanted, I forgot the term that she used, but she said she wanted a totally booked experience, right? So, with all of these different expectations, he asked her, he said, well, what would you be bringing to the date? And she said, me, and that's enough. Baby girl, social media done really messed everybody up. I'm just gonna be a buck about it, because ain't no way women are able to be manufactured to perfection out here. And so you think that they're not a dime a dozen? And what makes you so special? What separates you from everybody else? Right? So these are questions and scenarios that are a lot more common than they should be. And I'm just hoping that at some point we are able to turn this thing around, because we don't have the sense of family that we should have collectively. I'd love to hear experiences, and I love to hear people's personal stories and testimonies of how they have been able to keep their families together, or they've been able to find their soulmates, or they've been able to make their marriages work. And a lot of it has to do with lineage and foundations and morals, and us raising kids in such a divided household where you got mostly single moms has destroyed the family unit collectively. And it has given these females a mindset that we can use our bodies and we can expect everything and give nothing. And that's not living in a realistic world. It's not living in a real life world with having realistic expectations and desiring a full outcome, right? So I'm going to drop the link once more if anybody wants to come up. I'm pretty much, kind of covered everything that I had intended on covering during this stream. Um, just kind of, shedding light on what we're dealing with and giving a woman's perspective and some pushback that this shit ain't right. This just ain't right. We got to do better than this, because you can't walk around and put yourself on display, show all your goods, and then wonder why a man don't respect you. And you can't, talk to a man any old kind of way. And that's another thing too. It's like you talk to your man any old kind of way, and then when you get into a situation of authority, like say, law enforcement, you don't have you talk to them the same and think that that's going to go over the same way that you just talked to your man when you left the house, that you have no respect for. And it's just like I said, it's not being realistic, and it's really a bad look. So Miss Yo Thought said I have to do a part two. Okay. Well, when I do a part two, I'm gonna make sure that you're included in that to come up on the panel, because I definitely would love to hear your perspective. You always tend to break things down a little bit and simplify it more than I can. So you balance me out really good in that area, right? So if anybody wants to hit the link, I'll give it another moment. In the meantime, it's worth going back. Okay, so all right, we got Miss Selena here. Hey, pretty lady, what's going on with you? Welcome.
Okay. I was just, this is a very interesting topic. I'm telling you, I really I really enjoyed it. I came in a little late after work, but I see a lot of that. A lot of women um, think that the only thing they have to bring to the table is a pretty face, some tail, and they think that's enough, and they good and they're good conversation. And sometimes a lot of these women are not interesting. They're boring. They only talk about themselves. There's so many things that these people are missing, women miss out on because they're just so into their looks and what they have in between their legs. And it takes more to me to sustain a relationship, to even have a decent relationship, and to think that your looks and what you have between your legs is going to be enough. And just because you think you're so awesome, that's just not going to be enough. It's just not enough. And I think some men and women have it wrong, because some men think if they bring that eggplant, that's enough. That's not enough either. You know, it takes a character. It takes some people with, principles, things about themselves are interesting. You have to have a conversation. You need to be able to maintain a conversation. Most of these people can't even have a decent conversation. you know. So I don't know. I just think these people crazy. That's all I can tell you.
No, I think the same thing. I really do. I feel like it's kind of disheartening in a sense for
Right.
me, because it's like, how do we promote family? How do we promote unity? How do we promote collectivity? How do we promote rearing a family with children, and bringing up the next generation, when we can't even sit in the same room and agree on something as simple as what we're going to eat, where we're going to eat. I mean, you got our forefathers, they owned land and farmed and ran businesses and worked on, ran created and ran Wall Street, invested. We
Right.
can't even get past the surface stuff in order to just kind of get to the in-depth stuff, or the stuff that really matters and creates generational legacy and wealth at the end of the day. And it's like, I guess, one thing that I have learned from Kwame is you have to shine light on the problem before, in order to even realize that there is a problem, before a problem can be addressed and possibly solved, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so, that's the dirty work, I guess, that needs to be done. And it gets to be redundant in my eyes sometimes, but there are so many people that are sleepwalking, that just don't get it, or they don't think it's relevant, or uh, connected enough to really make a difference.
Right, right. I said this in one of my lives where I was just like, with me being raised by like older people, my grandparents, there's a lot of different like things that I've learned that I still take with me today. So there's just certain things, like if I go certain places or just go anywhere, to know how to, not number one, conduct myself, and know how to present myself when I'm out and about. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to fit in with the hoes, right? I don't want to fit in where everybody is looking a certain way. I want to be set apart and different. So I think women and men now are just missing a lot of important lessons, because either they haven't listened to some of the older people, or they just have no guidance, or they have nobody in their life to actually show them that, hey, this is not the way to go, this is not the way to be. And I see a lot of that now. Young adults, like, I'm a millennial, so the people that's under me, like Generation Z, they don't have a lot of role models, because some of the parents are still trying to do, what they were doing when they were 18 and 19, instead of being an adult and a parent. And it's just a misguided generation from this generation Z to millennials to even generation X. We have missed so many values of what the older people have taught us or put a foundation. A lot of that has gone now, because people just don't want to listen. They think that, oh, that's just old stuff, that's old folks stuff. I don't care nothing about that. But a lot of these old people they had a lot of wisdom. And if we had just listened, a lot of the pitfalls and the things that we got into, we wouldn't have got into if we would just listen to grandmama or grandpa. So it's just unfortunate. I just see a decline in it, in meeting people, decent people, genuine people. So it's just really sad. That's all I can tell you, Mr. Kimi. I always say it's going to take a miracle for me to really meet someone that is, what I'm looking for. So it's sad out here.
Well, miracles happen every day, so don't lose hope and just keep doing what you need to be doing and what you feel like you should be doing as God directed, and just watch Him work. Because one thing that I can say, and that was taught to me, and has always made a very big impression upon me, if we can do it all, then God don't have to prove Himself through us in our lives on any level. So,
Right.
He has to be able to prove miracles and to show miracles in order for us to know that it is God that did it, right? And so, well, thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate
All
your
right.
input. I'm glad you were able to come through and hit the
Thank
panel
you.
and share and add value. Thank you so
All
much.
right. You have a blessed day.
All right, you as well. Thank you. Well, this has been a great live. And y'all gonna have to come in to see my next live. I always gotta throw something up in there. We spend way too much time on YouTube not to be picking up on catchphrases and stuff. So, but with that being said, I want to just say thank you to everybody that came in. Thank you for everybody that commented in the chat. I want to say, hold on, let me see, because I tend to forget to do this, and I do not want to do this today. Okay, so thank you for the Cash App, Miss Kimberly Rose. I appreciate you for being such a blessing. And Torian Hepburn as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody that actually contributed and donated. I'm so grateful. I appreciate every last one of y'all. The support is amazing. It makes me extremely motivated to keep, doing what I can in order to help in any way that I can, even if it's just to bring awareness or to bring it up for the topic up for discussion that may be a little uncomfortable. I don't expect for everybody to agree with everything that I say. That's what makes this world super interesting and diverse. And God didn't create us that way. And it doesn't necessarily make me wrong and you right, or you wrong and me right. It just makes us us, right? And so with that being said, I appreciate everybody. And Miss Yo keeps saying I need to do a part 2. So let's do it. Let's do a part 2. All right. I hope everybody has a great evening. Peace and blessings to everybody. And until the next time, in the next live, y'all have a wonderful evening. Peace.